Hi guys, my name's Tiana. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a really big book haul. I've recently gotten a lot of books. This is not even all of them. I'm here and I have an overcrowded bookshelf. Yikes, I have no idea where these are gonna go. I just got out of a 5-hour drive. I went on a little trip for my birthday weekend, and a lot of these books were gifted to me during that or within the past 2 weeks here, as my birthday did just pass. So I wanted to go over some of the good things that I got, and some of these I did also buy for myself. So I wanna just talk about them, talk about what I'm most excited to read, and maybe hear your thoughts on some of these books. And I just would love to hear if any of these were like your favorite read of the year or least favorite, it wasn't worth it. What are your thoughts on it? Definitely tell me down below. All right, now let's get into it. So the first 2 books that I picked up, these ones I did by myself on release day of Reckless, was Powerful and Reckless. Now I read Powerless, I loved Powerless. It was one of the first books that I read when I got back into reading a little over a year and a half ago. And I loved Powerful. This one I read within a couple of hours. It's a very small novella. Now this one does follow Peyton's best friend Adina and kind of what she's going through while Peyton is fighting in the trials. I liked this one a lot. It was kind of fun to see a little bit more of her personality, but also what she was up to while Peyton was also in the trials. But then Reckless. So Reckless. I picked this up because I really thought I was gonna love it. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not love it. These are the only 2 books out of this whole book haul that I did already read, which is why I'm giving you a little bit of insight on how I felt on this. But I did not love Reckless. And I feel like it was mostly due to the fact that it was just very, very, very predictable. I felt like I knew exactly what was going to happen. I knew the ending maybe a third of the way into the book. I could already guess what was going to happen. And I just feel like the storyline itself, for how big this book was, it was just a lot of repetitive things happening over and over and over again. And I just didn't love it. I don't know that I'll read Fearless. She has since released that Fearless is the next book. I believe it's coming out in April of next year. But I don't know that I'll read it because for this one, for me, I felt like it was kind of rushed. And I think there could have been a lot more included in this book to make it a bit more enjoyable. I would rate this one probably 3 stars. Yeah, it just didn't wow me. After Powerless, I was like sitting there like, oh my gosh. And after Reckless, I was like, oh, okay. But still love Kai, still love Peyton. I just think the story could have been written a little bit better. Maybe I'll read the 3rd book. I don't know. We'll see once I get there. We'll see once it gets released. Then I picked up 2 books by Ali Poston. Now these, one of them was gifted to me and one of them I did purchase as an early birthday gift to myself. I purchased the 7-Year Slip. This one I have since started. I'm not far into it, so I'm not going to talk about it much yet. But this has been one of my most anticipated reads. I have been eyeing this book for months and I'm really, really excited now that I have it in my hands. I am currently reading it. I started it on my road trip back home here to Vegas and I am liking the reading style so far. I've never read any of Ashley Poston's books, but this one here did intrigue me. It's basically about this character named Clementine. She was very close with her aunt. Her aunt was a very eccentric person and her aunt sadly passes away and leaves the apartment that she lived in to Clementine in her will. But her aunt growing up always told Clementine that the apartment was magical. And she ends up meeting this man, and this is all from the back of the book. I am not giving any spoilers. She ends up meeting this man, except he exists in the past, 7 years in the past to be exact. And she quite literally lives 7 years into his future. Her aunt always said that the apartment was a pinch in time, a place where moments blended like watercolors. She also said that love is never a matter of time, but a matter of timing. And Clementine fears she may be 7 years too late. So again, I'm not very far into this book just yet. I think I'm about 30 or 40 pages in. I am loving her reading style so far, but I was really, really excited for this book and I have very, very, very high hopes for this one. And then I also have a novel love story. I'm not gonna lie to you, this cover was just to die for. I had to pick it up just for the cover simply alone. I love this entire vibe. And then ignore this little, if you can see that, I don't know, but it had a sticker. Bookstores. Why are we putting stickers onto books? Can we end that? Because it damages the book. Please stop. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled program. This one here is about a woman named Elsie. She feels safe in stories, at home in books, and she finds herself in a town from one of her favorite romance series that was never completed. And that's really all I know about it, to be honest with you. I know she meets a guy, I want to say he's like a grumpy bookstore owner with mint green eyes and impeccable taste in novels, and he does not want her finishing this book because she feels that she was sent to this town for a purpose. Again, I just really like the cover of this book and the cover of her other. I'm just loving the cover she has on her books, and I'm kind of intrigued by her writing styles already and the storylines that she has going. So I'm excited to read this one. A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. And then I have The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. Now, I read Bride by Ali Hazelwood previously this year, and I loved it. I devoured that book. And when I was growing up, I used to read like wolf stories on Wattpad. It's a very niche. If you know, you know. But I used to read those on Wattpad along with like fan fiction stories and whatnot, you know, as we do as teenagers. And I don't know, when I read The Bride by Ali Hazelwood, I started getting back into kind of shifter and wolf stories. I think they're kind of cool when they're not overly corny and overly done like Wattpad can be. So I picked up The Fake Mate. This is about two wolf shifters that agree to be fake mates but unexpectedly find something real in this steamy, paranormal, romantic comedy. Now, I've never read any work by Lana Ferguson, but I have heard really good things about her work. So I'm really excited to read this one, and I think this is pretty high on my list of books I want to get to very soon. Maybe I'll wait for a little bit closer to fall, because I did love reading like my wolf stories more in like fall, even though they're not scary stories for the most part. But I don't know what it was, it just made the vibe of it so much better. But we'll see, maybe this one will be a bit higher up on my reading list. I got this one as a birthday gift, as an early birthday gift. This one here is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Now, I read 3 Abby Jimenez books a couple of weeks ago that were included on Kindle Unlimited. It was the Friend Zone series, and I just love them. I think they were some of my favorite reads of the year so far, and it was just so amazing. Like the Friend Zone, I was not expecting to make me cry, and it made me cry. It just triggered some like real life things that I wasn't expecting it to trigger, and it was such a good book. Like, I still think about it. I still have a quote saved on my Kindle that I go back to like frequently just to read over, and I just feel like that whole series was well done. It's very witty, it's very funny, but it also has some real elements, and I just really fell in love with Abby Jimenez's writing. Now, I know that this one here is part of another series, so I do want to get the next the first 2 books for this one, because I believe it's part of Your World and Yours Truly. I could be wrong about that order, but I do need to pick those up before I read this one, because I did find with the Friend Zone series, I liked reading them in order. With Abby Jimenez books, they can be read as standalones, but in certain series, the characters interconnect throughout the books. And so it just gives you a little bit more insight on some of the characters you meet. And I did love that when I was reading the Friend Zone series. So I do want to pick up the first 2 books in this series, but I bought this before I even read any of her work on the Kindle, and I just fell in love. So I'm very excited to read more of her work and to read this series itself, because I just loved how witty and funny and real some of the points of the books were. She had me laughing out loud, like cackling at 2 a.m, but also crying. So I'm excited for this one. I've heard this one is really good. It's taking everything in me not to start reading it, because I want to read it in chronological order. It's on my wish list. I will eventually get to them, hopefully, but I'm really excited for this one. And then I picked up this one a few weeks ago with a friend. We went to Barnes & Noble. It's called A Door in the Dark. And honestly, I think it is more of a fantasy. It's about wizards. And I have been kind of not on my fantasy kick as much as usual lately. So I don't know when I will start this one. But it's giving to me kind of a Harry Potter vibe, just a little bit. It's about Ren, who has spent 4 years proving she's one of the best wizards in her generation, but top marks at Balmeric University will mean nothing if she fails to get recruited into one of the major houses. Houses, school, wizards, gave me Harry Styles. Now you know Harry Styles is always on my brain. But I don't know, like houses, schooling, wizards, gave me very Harry Potter energy. Now this book is not half as big as a Harry Potter book, but I did, again, love the cover. I am a sucker for a good cover. And I do typically really love fantasy books. So I am excited to get into this one. But right now I've just been in a romance vibe. So you may not see me read this one anytime soon or review this one anytime soon, but I did really like the idea of this one when I purchased it. And I'm hoping I'll get to it sometime this year. My goal is to read all of my physical books this year. But yes, this one I'm excited for as well. A Door in the Dark. This is by Scott Rankton. And then I got this one as well as an early gift to myself. So I think we're at what, 3 or 4 books now that I bought for myself. Yikes, I need to stop. But this one's called Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. This one says 6 summers to fall in love, 1 moment to fall apart, a weekend to get it right. I am excited about this one. I'm waiting for a really good pool day to read this. I have seen this one honestly all over TikTok. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I have heard good things about it. I don't know too much about how the story plays out. I'm guessing it's going to be a little bit sad. It follows Percy and Sam. They were really close friends in her childhood, and then she moved away. She made some mistake regarding Sam and then came back for his mother's funeral, and I believe she's trying to fix that mistake, and that's what we're following here. I am excited for this one. I don't know when I'll start it. It's not really high on my list here, but I do like the idea of this one. I was thinking for a nice poolside read. Next, I have Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Now, this one was actually recommended to me by the lady at the checkout counter at Barnes & Noble. When I was buying some of these books, she was like, hey, you don't have any that are buy one, get one 50% off to get the deal. Like, you don't have a second one. I have this one here, and I highly recommend it. It has sprayed edges. Do you want it? And again, as I've said multiple times in this video, I am a sucker for a cute cover, and I love the colors of this cover. It is so cute. I've been eyeing this book for years, never understood what it's about. I still, to this day, right now, at this moment, cannot tell you what this book is about. She told me it's a love story. I had no idea that it actually was like a love story, and I don't know what to expect with this one. It was highly recommended. I have seen this one all over social media for 2 years now, and I do want to read this. I just think I need to read it one day when I'm like, hey, I don't care what mood I'm in, let me just read something different. But she recommended this to me, and I was a sucker. I caved in. I think I only spent $8 on it. Not terrible for buy one get one 50 at Barnes & Noble. And I'm happy she suggested it to me. I do always want to try out new things. So if you guys ever have any recommendations for me that are a little different or are different than what I typically read, please leave them down below. Like, I am always interested in trying new types of books and different reads, and I definitely want to know what you guys are reading. And I probably will be adding some like different ones as they're recommended to me into my wish list down below. But I am excited for this one. I just don't know what to expect. I don't know. Did you guys like this if you've read this book? Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. How did you guys feel about this when you read it? Let me know. So next up, I have some books from my trip to LA recently. I did just get back from LA right now. Like, I'm not joking. We just parked the car 30 minutes ago. I did stop at Barnes & Noble at the Grove. They have this 3-story Barnes & Noble store that I just wanted to check out. I was dying to check it out, so we did. And my boyfriend got some books for me for my birthday week, and I picked up a couple. I realized I kind of was following a color scheme unintentionally, but I don't know what's going on. I'm just loving some of these covers right now. So let's talk about it. So I have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Now this one I wanted to read when I first got into reading a little under 2 years ago. This one here, it's about the Midnight Library. It is a library that this woman finds herself transported to on her last day on Earth, where each book contains an alternate life, a possible world in which she can make different choices. And I'm pretty sure this is just following her. And it says, before time runs out, she must answer the ultimate question: which infinite choices, what is the best way to live? So this one I just feel like is going to be kind of a deeper message to it, and I'm actually really excited for this one. I don't know that I'm in the mood to read this anytime like directly soon, but I have always had this on my TBR list and my wish list, and I finally picked it up. So I will eventually get to this one because I've heard amazing things about it. If you've read this one, please let me know what you thought. Like, was it really deep? Did it have a nice message to it, or was it more confusing? Because I really don't know what to expect with this one. Next, I have A Very Nice Girl by Imogen Crimp. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly, but if I'm not, I'm so sorry. About Anna. She's a student at an opera school, and she's really struggling. At night, she sings for cash at a bar, and she grows desperate to hold the attention of a wealthy, instructable Max. Now, she's ignoring toxic signs from this relationship, and it looks like here, this story reminds us that we are always just one moment away from setting all we have. Oh my gosh. It reminds us that we are always just one moment away from setting all we hold dear on fire. Now, the only reason I really picked up this book, one, the colors were cute. I liked the cover. There was this review, Left Behind, that I really liked, and this was really why I picked up this book in the first place. It says, navigating life as a woman in your 20s is not as glamorous as many television shows and movies would have us believe, but it does hold a unique excitement and the thrill of endless possibility. In her honest, witty debut novel, Imogen has captured the realities and emotions of young adulthood. As a woman in her early 20s, I was just gravitated by that. Like, that was such a good little excerpt to add onto the back of the book. It made me pick this up. I'm really excited to read this one. I probably will read this one kind of soon because I'm just dying to know like what happens within this book. Then I picked up Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. Now this one is about Alex, who has hired a babysitter, Amira Tucker. And Amira is babysitting Alex's daughter. She gets confronted at a grocery store, I believe, at a high-end supermarket. And the security guard approaches Amira and claims that she's kidnapping this child because she is a black woman with a white child. And basically, Amira is, of course, furious, humiliated. The situation ends up going south, and Alex is trying to help her out through this. I do really like this one, but it sounds like there's a little bit deeper to the story. It says, when the video of Amira unearths someone's from Alex's past, both women find themselves on a crash course that will upend everything they think they know about themselves and each other. So it sounds like there might be some betrayal in this book as well, but I like the fact that it's touching on some real life topics that are actually happening day to day, talking about racial inequalities and the judgments that certain races are getting in public. I mean, growing up, I can relate to this. I am a mixed woman. I'm half black, half white. Whenever I go out with my white family, there was always some kind of snide comments, and I've witnessed something like this firsthand in my own life, and I connected with that just by reading the back of this book. So I'm really excited to see how this one ends up going and kind of what comes out with this book, but I definitely cannot wait to read this one. And then I got this one because, one, I just love fairies. Two, the cover was cute. This is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This one, I don't know, it's about a professor. She journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark fae magic, friendship, and love in the start of heartwarming and enchanting new fantasy series. So I actually was not aware this was a fantasy series, and this might be what gets me back into my fantasy kick. I'm gonna read a few romances first before I start this one, but I don't know. I'm kind of excited to read this, and I've heard good things about it. I haven't heard too much, but I have heard really good things about this one, and I always have loved like myth and folk and things like that, so I know I will love this one. And then I had to pick this one up. It is a hardcover, and I'm not a huge fan of hardcovers, but I've just heard so many good things about this. This is Funny Story by Emily Henry. Basically, this woman, Daphne, was engaged to her fiance, Peter. Come to find out, Peter loves his childhood friend, Petra. And Daphne ends up rooming with Petra's ex because Petra, I believe, was also engaged. And then they ended up breaking off and getting together, and it was super messy. And now Daphne and Petra's ex, Miles, I think are rooming together, but also posting like pictures together on social media to make it look like there's more happening, just to be kind of petty. And I just love a little petty mess. I don't know, like something about this story just already has me wanting to like kick my feet and giggle. I've heard really, really, really good things, and everyone's saying it's a good beach read, so I'm excited to read this. I can't wait to see how the story unfolds, and I hope it kind of lives up to the idea that I'm already having in my head about it. But yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you so much for watching. That is the end of my book haul for my birthday month. So this haul was a little large. I do have my wish list down below if you'd like to see some other books that I am eyeing. You are not obligated to purchase any at all, but if you would like to send me a birthday gift, I would love it dearly. But again, that is not necessary at all. Do not feel obligated. I will probably be posting some reading vlogs of these books as I get to them, or possibly some reviews as I get to them. Let me know what kind of videos you like to watch down below. Since I am new to this booktube thing, I would love to hear your suggestions, but also let me know if you've read any of these books. Were they good? Were they not good? What do I expect? Give me your rating in the comments. Again, spoiler free please, so that it does not ruin my experience when I read the book, but I would just love to hear how you felt about some of these books that I have here. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you next time.